All right, we are here. Another extra bases with Bristol and Booth. I don't want to say another extra bases because this is not the first one of 2024, but it's pretty darn close. Jason Bristol, Jeremy Booth. We're doing a little different production thing. Jeremy, my goodness, you are in the studio, and we are one day away, less than 24 hours away from opening day. My goodness.
You know what? First of all, it's good to be back.
Mm-hmm.
It's good to be back. It's good to be back with you. It's good to be back in the building. It's good to be back with baseball season. The real season is here. Been a very busy off season for us, right? For what we were doing, and usually in the past we've had better and more consistent content than we did before, only because, let's face it, you got a lot of stuff going on.
We do.
A lot of stuff happening, and I'm just good to be tomorrow's opening day, and we're back in the saddle. Let's go.
So CBS had the Super Bowl. I was there.
Yeah.
And then obviously spring training. Yeah. I was there.
I was supposed to be there.
Yes, you were supposed to be there. Then U of H is now making a run in the NCAA tournament. So I was in Memphis, and now here we are. So
is there a lot going on? That's a lot going on.
A little bit.
It was supposed to be international, by the way. So
yeah, you know what's interesting? On my Facebook feed from time to time, I get these posts from the Game Show Network, and it's old clips of the match game. And I got thinking, Jeremy, we should play match game.
All right.
So what I have is a bunch of questions. We have our whiteboards.
Oh boy.
And we will we'll have some questions with blanks. And then we will write our answer.
So you are going to tell me how to do this, right?
Well, we're going to see if our answers match.
Okay, that's fine.
So let's do this. The first question, falling off a cliff, not exactly, but expect blank to decline. All right, I got my answer. You got your answer. It's probably the same. I
got me.
You got you.
I'm not falling. No.
Wait,
no.
You're declining?
I'm declining falling off a cliff. Not exactly. Anything close to falling off a perfectly good cliff, I'm out on. Okay. All right. What you do start over.
Well, now that you know that what I put, I mean, Jose Abreu, for the Astros' sake, I hope that he doesn't decline. But when you look at what kind of production he had, and maybe a lot of it had to do with injuries, but if I'm the Astros, I'm really concerned that Jose Abreu against the Twins in the postseason was really good. Jose Abreu through most of the regular season wasn't good. And he mentioned during spring training that he thought that Pilates may help him with his flexibility and things like that. So he did a lot of Pilates in the off season. So hopefully I'm not being too harsh, but right now the track record through one season has not been good for Jose Abreu.
You know, it's later on in your career, things like yoga, Pilates, flexibility, those are things that tighten up with your body. It's just a matter of when you get into it. It's not a matter of if. Like, you got to do that type of stuff to stay flexible. If you're not playing anymore, you can get in the gym and bang around all day. But other than that, you need to stretch. And so if he's doing those type of things, it's going to help him. It's going to help his resiliency. I will say this. It's the first time he stepped, I don't care what happened in Chicago, into a city here, into a city of any kind, obviously the only other team he's played for, that has an expectation to win. This city had an expectation to win, and he got a really big contract at a time when a lot of people said, what are we doing? What are we doing? And he came in and played like the question was a valid one. Now, hitters like Jose Abreu at the age he's in have a chance to really be good or really not. And we saw that last year. And he's not usually a feast or famine type guy traditionally, but right now in this point in time, it's going to go either way. I think he's going to have a year similar to last year. I don't think there's been too much decline in his body. I think if he's addressed those type of issues and he's more comfortable with the city he's in and the people he's around, you'll see a more productive overall player, but I still think it's more the same.
Up next, by the All-Star break, Joe Espada will be feeling blank. By the All-Star break, Joe Espada will be feeling blank. I don't know if that's a good one, but that's the first one I could come up with in my head.
Okay.
What do you have?
I got pumped up.
Pumped up.
Yeah,
all right.
Pumped up. All right.
I have content.
Okay. Well,
I think because this is a good baseball team, and I think he'll be content. I think that he might be a little worried about the starting pitching, but I think overall, I think he'll be content of where the Astros are in the race and the chase and everything that goes along with playing for another World Series.
So, I watched the game last night against the
Space Cowboys.
Cowboys, yeah, which hats off to Jeff Blum for saying some really positive things about some players.
Okay.
I see you. But when it came to what the club was doing, it's the same club. And so for me, I made the comment before we went on air. I made the comment of a little boring. I don't mean they're a boring baseball team. I said that. I'm gonna say that to you, but I'm gonna walk it back a little bit and say they're not a boring baseball team. It's just the same guys, right? And so if it's the same guys, not a lot of change. These guys have one or two ways to go with this. They get too comfortable, or they get aggressive and they try to push themselves through it. With that in mind, either way, they're the class of the division. They just, as we sit today, nothing against the world champions. They're the class of the division. Now, if you look at Texas, you go to Dallas, and you've got some health issues on the mound, and you got some guys that should be coming back halfway through to give them a jolt in the arm, and you got some guys who can still really hit, and some other additions they've made that'll help them win along the way. But without Jordan Montgomery going to Arizona, that's a different club. It just is. And when you have the depth in the game that they haven't exercised, there's a couple wild cards out there can still sign, right? But for the most part, that's what they got. And the Astros are just a better ball club as they sit today. Still got to play the games. Pitching should be better. The Astros will get the same jolt in the arm with guys come back, in theory. Urquidy's been, in and out, and Garcia's coming back when? When's that?
July-ish.
That's McCullers the same time.
Yes.
Frame. Yeah, and Lance needs to go into the bullpen. I'll say that again. I know it's the first time you've heard me say he's a reliever, but he's going to the bullpen. But the reality is they're going to get that type of shot in the arm too. So for what they have today, they're the best team on paper in the division. Whether or not they play that way is going to be up to them. That's just going to depend on their mentality.
Up next, though it was an up and down 2023, blank will return to 2022 form. Though it was an up and down 2023, blank will return to 2022 form. For me, this is a no-brainer.
Wait a minute, I need to think about this one.
All right, so you figure which of the Astros had an up and down 2023? There's a lot.
Yeah,
There's a lot of them.
I'm going through the roster right now.
I mean, obviously, one that sticks out is the World Series MVP from 2022. There's that one. He'll return to 2022 form. But as you've said, maybe 2023 is closer to what Jeremy Pena really is.
Yeah, I was in my head, and I said we find out in year 2. I've always said that, so I haven't written his name yet.
Yes.
Okay.
And again, the question is, though it was an up and down 2023,
that's a good question.
Blank will return to 2022.
That's a good question. Can I put Michael Brantley on it? No, because he's not playing. So does that technically count?
Oh my goodness.
Okay.
This is not good for a okay. Ooh, really?
Yeah.
All right. Show the people. Justin Verlander.
Christian Javier.
We
both went pitching.
Yes.
All right. I'm gonna say Verlander because I think they're gonna use him better. I think he's gonna be in Houston the whole year.
Obviously.
He's not gonna start in New York.
Yeah.
All right. He's gonna have to worry about changing environments, and he's gonna be able to be in a situation where he's gonna understand where he is in his time. For 5 innings, Justin Verlander can still be as good as anybody in baseball. Okay. For 7 or 8, not so much. That's not where we're at anymore. So for 5 innings, as long as the bullpen's ready to go and the depth is in the back, and I think it is, they got a pretty deep bullpen. I think Justin Verlander's got a chance to be what he was in 22.
I'm going Christian Javier. Christian Javier, his stuff was some of the best in baseball in 2022. When you start and combine 2 no-hitters, 1 in the World Series, you're pretty good. 2023 was definitely up and down. I don't know if the implementation of some of the new rules, the WBC, just something was off. And I do believe that he has a little bit, his demeanor on the mound, he's a little more stoic than, say, Fromber.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that Christian Javier, the stuff, the mentality, the way he goes about his business, I think he's really primed for I don't want to say bounce back, but to return to his 2022 form. And certainly look at the age. He's in that window where you could see a real jump in performance again.
I don't have any issue with that answer. I think that's a good answer. I for Christian Javier, for me, I remember seeing him last year in the season.
Oh yes.
And I remember saying to
Someone.
Does Christian Javier believe in his stuff? Why is he off? Why is he across his body? He can't repeat his release point.
How about this? How about this? Someone in baseball came to you and said, "What are you seeing on Javier?"
Correct, but I'm just going to go with my answer, and that's what I said.
Okay.
And I mentioned it. I asked a scout buddy of mine who was at the game, who was in a different spot, and he said that's exactly what's going on. And I passed that along, and the adjustment was made.
And the answer again was,
he was across his body, and he couldn't execute what he was doing. He couldn't repeat his land spot, threw off his release point.
and you believe that he didn't trust his stuff? Is that what you said?
Well, that's why. He knew instinctively he couldn't trust his fastball. He knew his breaking ball couldn't execute. He couldn't get to his glove side. In baseball terms, for anybody that's listening, this is part of the stuff we do technically that others don't. In baseball terms, that's called good hitting, because you're in the middle of the strike zone and you're flipping it and you can't get where you need to get with the breaking ball. And if you're a pitcher, and your slot, let's just say, is right here, and all of a sudden you're there, or you're even inside the ball here, and you start pushing, you can't finish. Not only does that put stress on your body, but it doesn't allow you to execute what you're trying to do out of the hand into the plate. So that was pretty clear at a couple points. Now, he straightened it out. He fixed it and straightened it out, hence the up and down, right? But I think Christian Javier, we said this before last year, is as good as anybody in the game when he's on. And I think that's a heck of a pick. Matter of fact, they need him to go back and do that.
In a deck of aces, blank will be the Astros' most productive starting pitcher. Looking through a deck of aces, because at times Houston has had three aces: Justin Verlander, Framber Valdez, Christian Javier. In a deck full of aces, or in a deck of aces, blank will be the Astros' most productive starting pitcher. I wonder if this is going to be a repeat. Oh boy, look at that. The same. Christian Javier. I think probably for all the reasons we just mentioned.
Yeah, I don't as good as I think Verlander is going to return to, Christian Javier to me is the best pitcher on their staff, and I think he's going to be the best starting pitcher. He's going to be the guy they go to. I think Framber, I got concerns a little bit with Framber. The issue with Framber Valdez for me isn't physical. Well, let me say that another way. The issue with Framber Valdez for me is mental, and it translates to physical. I'm not sure, and I'm going to say this, and he's going to go prove me wrong, and I hope so. I hope he does. I'm not sure where his priorities were last year. Something looked off almost, when he took the ball. It was wishing and hoping with him instead of believing he was going to execute. And when you look at what's happened this spring, when I've paid attention in glimpses, I like to watch snapshots, not every day because it's spring training. That's kind of what I've seen. I've seen a back and forth. I've seen in spring training, right? So we're going to ring the bell. We're going to see which guy shows up, right? With Christian Javier, I agree. I think he's one of the best guys in the best pitchers in the game, like we just said. And if he's on mentally, Javier can dominate, right? And so we'll see.
Up next, big bat, big numbers. Big bat, big numbers. Which Astros hitter is most likely to put up a career year? Which blank Astros hitter is most likely to put up a career year? Of course, you have a lineup that really is legit, as we all know. You've got Kyle Tucker, who has, 2 more years of control. Alex Bregman in a contract season. You have Yordan Alvarez. Yainer Diaz, who is going to be the starting catcher, we believe. Who do you have?
I have not David Ortiz. I have not Ryan Howard. I have Yordan Alvarez. Yeah. Jason, you got the same guy.
Yeah, I mean, he is the most electric dude in that lineup. Certainly, Kyle Tucker can do a lot more things, and Alex Bregman brings a lot to the table with his attitude and his professionalism. And I'm not saying that Yordan's not professional, but like the way he is almost like a spokesman now for that clubhouse. And Jose Altuve, while still a leader, he's obviously on the backside of his career now. Yordan is 26.
Yeah.
And
allegedly.
Let me tell you,
I'm kidding. That's an old joke from back in the day when we were scouting. Yordan's 26 years old. I can say this about him. While others have used this very similar line after we dropped it back in, was that 2019?
It was
2019. All this guy's done is hit when he's healthy. I think putting him in left field was an absolute mistake And we proved that. We talked about that last year before the season started. You don't wear that guy down who's hard on his body anyway, right? He's hard on his body anyway. Put him in left field 5 days a week. I don't care what he wants to do. You have to be productive and he has to hit. In my mind, Yordan Alvarez, the way he hits left-handers, the way he stays on the baseball, the way he's able to get to the power to his power side, the way he's able to use the whole field when he wants to, is if not the best left-hander in baseball, show me one better. And I know we've got Seager and we've got some of the guys out there that can do it. Show me one better. As good as Alex Bregman is in the box, and I've seen Alex play since he was 14 years old. Okay. This one's pretty good. This guy wakes up and swings the bat. Like he falls out of bed every day and goes, you know what I'm gonna do today? I'm gonna go hit. And that's what he does. He shows up and he rakes. So it's hard to do that. You know, Alex works at it and he's good. And Altuve works at it and he's good. This guy, I'm not saying he doesn't work at it. He doesn't have to. It's different. So I think Yordan is primed to put the club on his back, so to speak. I think it's his time.
What about this idea of hitting him in the number 2 hole?
That's an analytic move to get him up more times. I want him producing runs. And if I don't believe in my 8 and 9 hitters,
well, that's a problem.
I'm not hitting him 2. So for me, he hits 3 just because I don't believe in my 8 and 9 as much. And this is a good 8 and 9 for the league. This is what Dubon probably and Myers
and maybe
kind of rotation.
McCormick.
Yeah. So I mean, that's not a bad 8 and 9.
Or Pena, I should say. Pena.
It's not a bad 8 and 9, but I don't believe in the on base percentage that much with this guy, in the box. And I do believe in Bregman and Altuve and what he can do to make them better in the 1 and 2 hole. I don't know why we'd go away from that. Especially because you want to break up your right-handers. And when you go down the line with this lineup, if we just do it with Altuve 1 and Alvarez 2, where's Bregman hit 3? Okay. Where's Tucker hit 4? How many other left-handed bats we got? That's it.
Yeah.
Right. And you're running 5 through 9 that way. I would space them out a little bit.
That's what Dusty liked to do.
Well, you have to, because otherwise it's too easy to pitch to. And in an analytic world where the situational reliever is out of the game, really, you can't do that. You got 3 hitters. They have to face now. You can't come in for 1 hitter and be done anymore. You have to be able to find a way, in my mind, to break that. In college, you call it break up the rock pile, right? I'm going to break up the 5 guys that are hitting right-handed in a row, because if I've got a guy like Alvarez, I want to cut that back. I want to go ahead and slide Tucker to 5, him to 3, put somebody else in the 4 to protect. Why not Diaz? Why not put Diaz in the 4 hole to protect? I'm not saying it's perfect. I'm saying you got to think that way for me to get that lineup extended a little bit and not be able to be matched up on. Get a right-handed reliever in there. You want to be able to left-hand bat at some point.
All right, moving on here. Match game, extra bases edition. Here's the next one. At the end of the season, blank wins will be enough to be the champions of the AL West. So at the end of the season, blank wins will win the AL West. I don't remember. I should look this up. How many wins? Really?
Yeah.
Oh, wow. All right. I'm really low then compared to you. All right. So last year. All right. Well, we'll show them and then you can. I said 92. I
said a hundo.
A hundo. Well, yeah. I guess yeah.
I don't think Texas is going to take it lying down.
Okay.
I think the Astros are going to have to get some of the pitching help they need in the rotation. It's the way it works. You're never going to finish what you start with. I think they're way right-handed. We just said that. As good as I think they are, I think it's going to be a little bit of a battle. I don't trust Oakland. Okay. Get in line. Right.
Does Seattle have the best rotation in the division?
It's close. It is close. I still can't do it till they prove it, but it's getting there. Anaheim's a little better. Los Angeles of Anaheim, San Jose Angels, and Ron Washington, who's a very close family friend. He'll do the best he can with that. They're still short. They're light, and so if you got Seattle that's, okay, and you've got Anaheim that's okay, and you've got Oakland, which isn't okay, it's kind of a 2-team race, right? Doesn't mean you count these other guys out. You still got to play the game, but it's kind of a 2-team race.
Yeah, I disagree. I think it's a 3-team race.
It's a 3rd team.
Mariners.
Oh, I'm going to abstain from that. I can't do it.
Okay.
I can't do it. But I do think that if you throw them in there, there's 3 teams that you can beat up on. Astros and Rangers can still beat up on those guys. Maybe it's a second race for the wild card and the rest of the league. But you go look at the AL East, you've got the Yankees, who should be improved, at least for 162.
Yeah.
You've got the Red Sox, who are You've got the Orioles, who are the Orioles,
Mhm.
who are doing pretty good. Michael
Yeah.
Elias doing a good job out there. You've got Tampa, who's going to be Tampa, and they're going to compete every night in, night out, and they're talented. And we got Toronto. That's a pretty good division. So if I got a wild card coming out of somewhere, I'm picking the East. So for me, at least one of the two. So for me, I don't the third one I don't count. Okay, one of the two. So when it comes to what's happening in winning the division, to me, you're going to have to bludgeon people a little bit. You have to go out and really run the table sometimes because Texas is coming too. They're not just going to go away. And we saw that happen in Arlington. We saw it in Houston.
Moving on. The Astros have a dynamic 1-2-3 at the back end of their bullpen. Astros fans will feel blank about the team's middle relievers by June. Astros fans will feel blank about the team's middle relief come June.
I don't have a pot in here to stir, but I'm going to ask this question.
Okay.
Before I write this down.
Okay.
Are we talking about fans? I'm a bloggers and tweeters.
Okay, that's a good point.
All right, what are we talking about? Because if we're talking about fans, that's nothing against the bloggers and the tweeters.
Yeah.
The bloggers and the tweeters can be a skosh irrational, just a smidge. Okay. If we're talking about fans,
I don't know.
If we're talking about fans, people who are watching the game without getting over emotional, then I can give you an answer. Which one are we talking about? Which one are you talking about? We're talking about Astros.
I guess I got to go. I got to go bloggers and tweeters.
Okay.
Yeah. By the way, the Astros and Rangers, and I should have known this right off the top of my head. Last year, each team had 90 wins, and that's what won the American League West. So by June, Astros bloggers and tweeters will feel blank about the Astros middle relief. Ooh. I saw yours and I tried not to. Will feel okay, I gotcha. Like for the Yordan Alvarez thing, you wrote like a book. Was that your second book?
Yeah, it's my second one. That one's also a bestseller. Can ask Dr. Gammons out there in Boston. He liked it.
All right. But I think this could be said for any middle relief. You said upset.
Yes.
I said like they're on a roller coaster ride because relievers are volatile.
Yeah, I think yours probably better.
Yeah.
You're probably right. If we're talking about bloggers and tweeters, then upset is just like the day ends in a Y.
Yeah.
Right. So I mean, this is really kind of a trick question. So that's all I got. That's it.
I have hope for Rafael Montero. I do. I don't know why, but I think because relievers are volatile, and I think that wave, he was high in 2022, dips in 2023, so maybe he'll come back like a wave.
Who knows? I don't have an answer for Rafael Montero. I know that they have some starters that can get into 6. If you get into 6, you're in the back of the bullpen, right? I don't know where I put McCullers when he comes back, believe it or not. He's probably a pretty good bridge guy. One time through the lineup at this point in his life, maybe he's a middle reliever. I think they'll get better as it goes on, but I think that people are going to be upset one way or the other about how this plays out. You got to remember, as Jason and I have said, Jason wrote down roller coaster ride. Relievers are really volatile. You don't know what you're going to get at night in, night out. I mean, one night last year, we got, the Astros got Josh Hader now. Josh Hader refused to take the ball. You got to remember, these things happen. He said, I don't want to throw. No, I'm not facing this guy through. You don't want to do that. What if that happens here? You think this city's going to go for that?
How long ago was this?
It was a year ago. You think the city's going to go for that?
Oh, it was, wasn't it?
Yeah. There's no shot. So what I'm saying is relievers are volatile, and you have to just go ahead and ride this out. I didn't now notice that. I'm going to show this again for those of you that are
watching.
Okay. Upset. I didn't say it wasn't justifiable when it comes to this. I'm just saying it's going to happen. So look, I think they have one of the best bullpens in the game again on paper. You still got to go throw the rock. You still got to go do it. So I think you're right. Roller coaster ride's going to happen, but we'll see what happens around June. Anything else? We got another one?
I got 2 more.
Okay, this is fun.
At the trade deadline, there is a blank % chance that Dana Brown will go get starting pitching. At the trade deadline, there is a blank percent chance that Dana Brown will go ahead and get starting pitching. Ooh, I said 50%. You're going 0. Dana has been pretty steadfast in saying that he likes what he has and he just needs the reinforcements to get healthy, right?
I think the Astros, when they're healthy, used correctly in those roles, have enough arms. I just do. And I never say, I don't like saying that. It goes against everything in baseball that I've known to say that. But I don't think you get anything from somebody else out trading off the big league roster. That's what I was
because
commenting.
The minor league system doesn't have much.
It doesn't matter. I said upset at the last one, right? Okay. It doesn't matter how upset people want to get at this situation. The Astros don't have much in the system. There's a couple of pieces. They used them last summer. Is there some depth? Yeah. Are there guys who can help for a little bit? Yeah, there are. But you know what? There's nobody to go out and move other people. One guy to go out and move and get something back. And you can't give rid of everyone. You had to keep something behind a little bit for when you really need it. So my answer is 0, with the caveat that if he's willing to trade off the big league roster because he feels he has a surplus somewhere, Corey Julks, for example, something like that, an extra guy, but you have that guy in your system. If you don't have somebody doesn't have a fourth guy or a fifth guy, a Jake Myers, something like that you can run out there, even though he's going to play here, a Dubon who's versatile. You never know what he can do there. If he decides to trade from the big league roster, there's a chance. I don't think he needs it. I think he's got enough stuff here. I think he needs to go get some depth position player wise and some other arms to go ahead and shore up the back of the bullpen. Watch that waiver wire. Watch those guys that get released. And I did hear a quote or hear him talking. And he said that kind of the same thing. We're looking for stuff that makes sense. And I know it was kind of what people would say, oh, that's a line that sounds good. No, that's about right. He's looking for something that makes sense and something to add to the mix to make you better. I'll also tell you that when you're in spring training, and you leave spring training, you never feel as good about your club as you do right then. You just don't until you win the whole thing, right? Because that's where you're starting your season with, and optimism is high and everybody's pumped up. So I say 0% chance.
The Astros did sign Penn Murphy, the reliever from Seattle, who has had some injury issues, claimed him off waivers. They put Graveman to the 60-day IL. Murphy is the guy who Jeremy Pena hit the home run off in that I think in that long playoff game in Seattle in 2022. I think that's the same guy, if I remember correctly.
They claimed somebody.
Yeah.
On the waiver wire.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's where they're gonna go.
Okay. All right. Last one is we're running out of time here. If I was a betting man, I would blank. All right, here we go. If I was a betting man, I'd place money on blank to win the American League pennant. If I was a betting man, I would place money on blank to win the American League pennant.
This is any team in the American League.
Let me check here.
Just making sure.
I think I think all teams are eligible to win the American League pennant.
Make sure. Check your notes.
Now maybe Oakland, they might be in the running for the PCL pennant, but yes, checks notes. Every team is eligible for the American League pennant. Placing money. I'm going to shock the world on this one.
Okay. I went back and forth between two teams. Yeah, that was the other one I went back and forth with.
And here's why I'm doing the Orioles. Astros, Jeremy has. I have the Orioles because the odds are a little bit lower. So you're getting in at obviously better odds. So I think right now the Yankees and Orioles are the favorites to win the American League East. But if I'm going to place money and have a good return, I'm going to say the Orioles. I mean, there's a lot to like, and I'm not saying Mike Elias would do it, but he has chips. He has chips to trade, and he's got guys that are knocking on the door that are probably, listen, I don't want to say it's like the Astros over again, but
no, it is.
It's getting close.
Yeah. I mean, this one Mike built himself. Okay. This one, he built himself. A couple of pieces that were there before he got there. For the most part, this is Mike's work as far as guys arriving. What I can say is I don't think they're ready yet.
Okay.
I think they're a year away.
Yeah, but didn't we think that about the Astros in 15?
No.
Okay. Well, I mean, they didn't win it.
They weren't ready. But I mean, I think you're saying 17, and they won anyway. But that was 2 years after they started getting to the playoffs.
But you could argue that 17, they weren't ready until they went and got Verlander.
But that's what we're talking about.
Okay.
Going to grab a chip, right?
Yeah,
So I think Mike is looking at that, having been through it, and saying last year was year one. And they got bounced pretty quick in the postseason.
Well, you could argue that the year before was year one.
But they didn't get to the postseason. When the Astros get to the postseason in 15?
They did.
They did. And in 16?
No.
Okay. So you have this second year here where they're going to figure themselves out. The Orioles, what they really have, they got some pieces that are still productive major leaguers that are ahead of guys like Jackson Holiday, which they all wanted to see, who needs to go to AAA and play there. And there's no reason to rush him up there. I think the Orioles' year is next year. I think they're a force next year. I think everybody I've talked to about them states the master of the obvious. They're for real. They're just not ready yet. They're for real. They're just not ready yet. Now, that said, Brandon Hyde, somebody that I actually played college baseball against, shocking. It's 6 degrees of separation with me, man. It's like unbelievable. I'm the Kevin Bacon of baseball. I'm telling you, it's unbelievable.
Not bad for a washed up, disgruntled old scout.
I hate my life. Anyway, if Brandon Hyde and Tim Cousins, they'll tell you that they're close and they can keep them on track because they understand, identify with that player. Not yet. And I'm pulling for Grayson Rodriguez. I don't care what anybody says. I'm pulling for G. I'm pulling for that club. I'm pulling for Cowser, who made the roster. Colton Cowser made the big league roster. I'm pulling for Holiday and Matt's kid to get to the big leagues. He's not really Matt's kid anymore. He's kind of his own guy, but he's still Matt's kid.
Oh, and they have a pretty good catcher too.
They do. And Rutschman and also, guy that was with us, go back him up. It's perfect. Just like his daddy, Silas Ardoin, just built just like Danny. So, I think
is that close?
It's in AA.
Okay.
It's not far away. He's in big league camp this year, had a good camp, it's for what he needed to do. I think they're going to be good, for a while. It's going to be interesting to watch how they do this, but they're not ready yet. They're a year away.
So here are the odds, which opened on November 8th, 2023. This is from betonline.ag. When they opened up for the World Series, the Braves opened as the favorite. They're now second. The Dodgers opened as the second favorite. They're now the favorite at 3-1.
Huh?
So the Astros are among the top 3 most bet teams right now. Dodgers, Braves, Astros. And then the World Series, you've got Dodgers 3-1, Braves 5-1, Astros 7-1, Yankees 10-1, Orioles 12-1, Rangers 14-1. And then you've got the Phillies, the Mariners, the Twins, the Jays, the Reds.
The second tier. Yeah.
Diamondbacks.
The Reds will be good too. Diamondbacks will be all right. But the Reds will be good too in a couple of years. They're building. Brad
Are we
Better.
sleeping on the Diamondbacks now?
No, I'm not. I think they're going to be good. I think the rest of the league is. They just signed Jordan Montgomery. That's kind of nuts. But not the league, but the people that are the odds makers are. I think if you look at the Reds, they have a pretty good core on the way. They've had some picks that didn't work. Senzel, I believe, is in Philly? No, where's Senzel?
Oh, where did it? Nationals.
Nationals. Yeah, Nick Senzel's with the Nationals. They've had some guys that haven't come all the way through. They've just pushed their way out. Votto, did he make the big league club in Toronto?
I don't know.
So, you've got some change in Cincinnati, but Brad Metter and, of course, Joe Katuska, who's an excellent scout, doing a good job up there, continuing to rebuild that organization, that club. We'll see what happens.
Extended spring training.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Because he joined it late.
So. Montgomery will be extended too.
Yeah. All right, everybody. So that was our first ever match game here on Extra Bases. I think it went okay. Please let us know in the comments section below what you think. Normally we just come on, we have a few topics and we jump around, but this time we had a few questions and then I made some up as we went along. So all right, that's going to do it for another Extra Bases. For Jeremy, I'm Jason. As always, thanks for watching, and we will see you next time here on Extra Bases.